What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. This should be the last time we touch on this subject, but you guys told me 10 cases was not a wide enough pool to really determine the pull ratios for a set. Well, now I'm going to bring to you guys 62 cases plus 5 from Alintheo, but there's something very, very drastically different, and we'll get into that once we look at our chart for the USA cases versus the Euro cases, and it's frankly a little unfortunate, it would seem. So from Junk's Playground, you might remember Benedict Junk. He opened 22 cases of the German set, and he posted this about 18 cases through. He basically confirms the cards that I posted in my previous video as being significantly less than the other cards, but they're not necessarily short printed once you actually go over his ratios. They seem to be what I described as that half print. And Masawi Kaiba basically says that that's because in any production run, the end product ends up being printed less. So about 10 to 12 slots usually, and it's probably less on the secret rares since it was a smaller run that less secret rares would be cut out. But we have Ash Blossom, DD Crow, Dragoonity Dux, Dragoonity Legionnaire, Dragoonity Phalanx, W-Wing Catapult for the effect monsters. The normal monsters include Giant Red Sea Snake, Mikazuki no Yaiba, Parrot Dragon, V-Tiger Jet. The spells include Double Summon, Exile of the Wicked, Fusion Sage Regeki, the Monarch Storm 4th, Warrior Elimination, and the traps include Fiendish Chain and Just Desserts. So basically the same cards that we talked about in the previous video all seem to be pulled significantly less by Benedict Junk as well. But this all seems to come from Euro cases, and in the past we have seen that the manufacturing plants for the Euro print cards are obviously very different than the USA ones, and that means we could have very different ratios between the two. Benedict Junk ends up pulling through 22 cases and gives very specific card pulls for them, and we're going to use that in our graph over here. So ooh, if you start looking over at the Troll and Toad section versus the Euro English and the German cases, it's very different. The Euro English and the German seem to align perfectly. Very, very few differences. Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles basically gave me the rundown. I only asked specifically on Ash their pull ratio, and then they gave me the rundown on what was a low rate for ultras, high rate for ultras, and then low rate for the secret rares. And basically all the Blue Eyes cards do seem to have that high pull rate. And then there's the low pull rate for them on Utopia the Lightning at 2.5 or less per case, and Benedict Junk got 2.4. Troll and Toad got 1.32 per case. That's like 1 out of every 8 boxes instead of like 2 to 3 per case. Like, that's really low. Similarly, Card and Demise was only pulled by them at 1.22 per case in the English boxes, and the Euro print, it's still at that half print, but this is more like a fourth print, which kind of rings true as a true short print for Lightning and Demise from their English cases. I would like to see another comparison for English cases, but Troll's all I have, but that's 20 cases. It's quite a few to line up against these European cases, but all the European cases seem to be lining up. Terraforming at 2.45 per case, 2.5 or less for singles, and 2.76 for Troll, actually a little higher, and there's a reason that it's higher. If you scroll down to the bottom of the graph, I've accidentally put it twice, but to clarify, the promo cards are around 1 to 1.5 per case for the secret rare and under 2 per case for the ultras. So the promo cards that are re-released into the section are actually short printed for the USA cases, it seems, whereas they were not necessarily for the Euro cases. That's kind of a good thing because you're already guaranteed those promo cards, and it kind of sucks that we can pull them in the same product. So it's nice that those were, but it seems that it's at the cost of some other cards being perhaps at the bottom of their sheet that's getting cut up, and it seems to be a lot of the better cards according to Troll. They also say that if we scroll down here, all of the hand traps are shorter printed where they're not in Europe. Besides Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom being the first across the board was about 2 per case. It's actually a little higher for Troll, 2.02 per case. I asked specifically for singles, they said 1.95 per case. and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring at 1.86 per case for Benedict Junk, the lowest pull rate. Sorry, Junk, but it's all around. You're getting on average 2 Ash Blossom per case. Now the rest of the hand traps, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, 3.5 per case versus 3.5 per case versus Trolls 1.96, the same rate as Ash Blossom, about actually a little less for them. Droll and Lock is similar. Benedict Junk is 3.6. It's 3.5 plus for singles, and then it's 2 per case for Troll. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3.6 per case for Junk. Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles 3.5 plus, and then Troll hits 1.94. Across the board, then Raigeki also is at 1.9 per case, 2 or less, and 1.8 per case. Double Summon it was I guess just whoever originally did that was unlucky. We had 2.09 per case, a low ultra rare of 2 or less, and then 1.88 per case for Troll, so actually lower. So these underprinted promo cards and other stuff end up showing in the other secret rares. Like you notice, we have a slightly higher pull rate for Terraforming for Troll. Also, we can look at A, B, and C, which are Kaiba cards that were overprinted along with the Blue Eyes cards, which I didn't originally know happened. We see 3.7 per case on A versus 3.5 plus, and then Troll hits above 4 per case on all A, B, and C. So those secret rare slots where the promo cards ended up short printed, which realistically, yeah, 1.1 to 1.5 per case, that's realistic that it would be replaced elsewhere. Also, I didn't get any case ratios or notes on Judgman at least, but it says under 2 per case for Troll and Toad. I think that was in Junk's original message, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Is Giant Red Sea Snake? Yeah, it is in Junk, so that might be across the board. He didn't post that specific ratio on this post, though. So I'm guessing Giant Red Sea Snake across the board was, but I didn't specifically ask. But in addition, it seems Judgman for Troll and Toad was shorter printed. I actually don't have Troll's Crush Card virus data because they didn't actually notice there were 2 different printings of Crush until towards the end. So they were still going through that. But I can tell you everything that is under the 2 per case on the Ultra Rares, which includes Ancient Fairy Dragon for them. It includes Blue Eyes White Dragon, Arts, Parrot Dragon, Droll and Lock, Ash Blossom, Warrior Elimination, Mikazuki no Yaiba, Ash Blossom, I think I already said that, Cherries, Ogre, Judgman, Just Desserts, Giant Red Sea Snake, yeah, and then the rest of the Blue Eyes Arts are all under 1 per case, so there's one that's a little higher, but barely higher. Double Summon, Exile of the Wicked, and Raigeki all seem to be at either 2 per case or a little less on most of those cards, and very few are a little more. Like they pulled, let's see, they actually pulled, I think V-Tiger Jet at a regular rate though, so that I guess maybe swap places with Judgman. Not too many of you guys care about this. The end takeaway from this entire thing is that the USA prints seem to be on a different run than the Euro prints, but there's similarities across them, and that Ash Blossom seems to be the same pull rate. I've never known Troll to really try to manipulate the market. They've always done their own things. They're good Southern boys out of Kentucky that I've done business with in person for over 10 years, and if they really were trying to pull this move, I think their site's so independent and its own market that you don't see them like try to follow buyouts like directly right after a buyout unless they've been bought out themselves. Like they're usually holding the line, and I've seen VCTRFS show that on his live streams with like the Gravekeeper stuff, like $4 for one of the Gravekeepers that were lowest listed 50. Like a lot of people often miss going there on buyouts and they don't seem to jack it up right away. So I don't think Troll's like trying to give any misinformation. Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles has always been straight up and honest with me. They list obviously way low prices considering that they've sold out of sets like twice. They relisted cards and almost immediately sold out as well, and they're kind of ignoring the American market and just setting at their own prices and still setting out. Like both of these major companies, it's in their best interest to tell the truth when they're presenting me with this data. And then Junk's Playground, he's a player who's also a vendor who his data lines straight up with Yu-Gi-Oh singles. It's unlikely they collaborated. A man from Germany and then New Zealand. Like, these are all great pulls. And then Alenteo told me about his 5 cases before his amazing case pull that he posted to YouTube. And he told me that the original 5 cases lined up with the data of basically what Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles and Junk's Playground are saying here. So hopefully this is a much bigger pool for you to look at. It's weird that, you know, USA is so vastly different on the pull rates for some of them, but you can see stuff like DD Crow, not short printed at all for USA at 4.18 per case. Like, oh boy, the hand trap we all wanted. Like, it's actually just crazy the vast differences here on this amount. But hopefully, you know, data from directly in front of you, 62 cases plus a tuber, Alenteo, who's always been straight up and honest, one of the best of the community, confirming the 2 European basically pull rates. It's really insane to see this out here and just straight in front of us in person. And like you guys requested, there it is. Look at this graph.